I am ready to introduce our first demo, Beyond Completions, AI Engineered Learning for Business Impact. And guiding you through this first demo is Sandra Moran and Ali Zaheer from Schoox. I'm going to pass it over to them to take it away.
Thank you so much, Bianca. Let me share my screen and get us ready to go. It's a super pleasure to be the first one. Let me just get myself in full screen. There we go. Hopefully we're displaying in full screen as appropriate. So again, thank you so much. I'm going to kick things off. I'm Sandra Moran. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Schoox, and most of the time we're going to spend with Ali taking you through a demonstration of the system. I have just two slides. I'm going to be really quick, and I know some of you are here because you're looking for an LMS. And I just want to share a little bit of information about Schoox before we dive into the Beyond Completions topic that we have for today. But most people think about an LMS delivering courses and giving you a chance to train your employees, organize content, measure completions. Certainly, Schoox does all of those things, but we do it in a unique way. And that is from the outset, this is a learning management system that was optimized for frontline learning. That means it was uniquely mobile first. And we really think about not just delivering classes, but we think about how the learning management system needs to support content creation, how we need to personalize that content for the individual learners. Like I said, not just tracking classes, but really what does it take to develop talent inside your organization? How do you engage learners on their own journey? And last, how does the learning and development team really demonstrate business impact? And I'm just going to talk about a couple of things that are unique to that. The first is the breadth of content, whether you're building your own content, you need content from Schoox or a combination of both. One of the really unique capabilities we bring to our learning management system is how we deliver training, whether you're online or offline. How do we get the right training to the right employee at the right time? Beyond just taking a class, this is about developing skills. We've got capabilities that are very unique around performance, reinforcement, coaching, so that learners are actually not just taking a class, but becoming proficient. How do we motivate learners to engage in their own learning journey? And those are capabilities around career paths and gamification and communications so that they felt seen and heard and supported by their organizations. And of course, learning teams need to get insight about what learners are doing in order to continue to optimize. We're using AI not as hype, but actually to augment all of those capabilities. How can we create training faster? How can we adapt and deliver training in a format that the individual learner is most capable of educating themselves using? How do we actually develop the right skills? Can we engage the learner in the flow of work? And how do we use insights about learning to continue to optimize skills development? Specifically today, we're going to talk about a new capability, but I want you to know that foundation is there in Schoox LMS. We're going to be talking about impact-driven learning. That's not just any content, but it's content that's purpose-built. We're actually mapping the skills that employees need to specific business metrics and personalizing. Once they've developed proficiency, we don't want to keep training them in a skill that they've already attained. As they improve proficiency, how can we demonstrate impact to specific performance metrics that the organization is looking for learning to contribute to? Can we deliver training not just as a course, but in the moment of need with AI chatbots and other capabilities? And how do we continue to demonstrate the impact of learning to the organization? So Schoox is an all-in-one learning management system, and I've talked to you about learning engagement so that employees want to go on that journey, specific skills and career development, and tying performance to individual business objectives that the company has. So I'm going to turn it over to Ali. He's going to take you through a demo of a capability, which is really about going beyond completions. With our Learning Impact Suite, we're actually able to map the skills for a particular job. Sorry, we're able to cluster those skills using AI in order to know how should we develop those particular skills. We develop the company's baseline metrics, so we're identifying which skills are needed to be developed in order to drive revenue growth or customer satisfaction improvements, forecast the impact of learning on specific business metrics, build custom training plans, and actually generate the content. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ali. I'll be monitoring the chat while Ali is demonstrating, and we'll leave some time for Q&A at the end.
Hi everyone, this is Ali Zaheer. I am the Senior Director of Solution Consulting here at Schoox. So we will be going through the LIS demo today, so thank you so much for your time. Now this won't be a traditional LMS demo. We're not starting with courses or dashboards. Everything you'll see today starts with one question. Are we training the right things to drive the right results? For our demo today, we will use Old Navy as our company, which is part of Gap Incorporated. Just to be clear, we use this brand because everyone knows this, everyone recognizes it, and the data that we share today is not proprietary. This is all data that LIS has returned just to show you the power of the system. Now, we ran a prompt to find the most crucial job roles at Old Navy and also included a description of their daily tasks. This is very important information because all of this is dependent on that, as the job descriptions from the career pages are sometimes vague and don't give you enough details. So for my results, it gave me 2 to 3 roles. Retail sales associate was one of them, and I'll use that for my demo today. So on screen, you'll see some key fields such as the job title, description, the company name, and industry. This is key information, the foundational data that the system requires. And once we added all of that in the system, we generated the impact job profile. Now on here, you'll notice that there are skills that have been mapped to this job role using our AI engine. And you can use your own skills, or if you don't have anything in the system, you can simply use the AI engine, as I mentioned. It classifies it into job specific and general skills, gives you the importance score, the category, and the reasoning too. Nothing is mandatory here. Leaders can accept, reject, or regenerate new skills. Once we have all of this, we generate a plan, an impact job profile plan. On this screen, you'll notice that there are groupings of skills. This is where patterns emerge. System creates relationships between those skills. So you can now start thinking on how to train your team members on those skills. It also creates at least 3 groups to organize similar skills with each group and its justification. Now, instead of viewing skills in isolation, we observe how multiple competencies integrate and interact with the workflow. This is important because a little later you'll see how the system uses these relationships and also then create a training plan based on that for the job. Then the system also generates proficiencies. Now this section presents each skill that has been mapped and then associates it with relevant proficiencies. All of this is AI generated. Some people might call this competencies, some might call them daily tasks, but at the end of the day, it generates all of this for you. So there are 4 levels: foundational, operational, proficient, and advanced. So for example, if I click on customer service for the foundational level, I can see all of the tasks that are mentioned here. You can delete these descriptions or add new ones just to be more consistent. From here, we generate business metrics. And here you'll see the baseline metrics. Now we can connect skills to outcomes. To make sure that this is usable at the executive level, metrics roll up into impact categories. This allows leaders to see where training investment actually moves the business. These aren't generic metrics. They're all aligned to the role that we define, which is the retail sales associate. the industry, which is retail, and the brand, which is Old Navy. These metrics are connected to the role and they're editable too. So here, if I look at revenue and sales growth, metrics are average revenue per sales associate, gives me the details, and it comes up with a baseline number. As I mentioned, you can go in and you can even edit this if you need to make those changes. The next one is impact categories. Now, Schoox identifies impact areas linked to 10 industry agnostic categories and shows the expected impact for each. So here, these are all the categories on the left-hand side. But when we click on revenue and sales growth in this case, we'll notice that inventory turnover ratio has a high significance impact on this category. If I click on customer loyalty and experience, you'll see customer satisfaction score and sales conversion rate. These are both the impact areas that have high significance on this category. This is to spot where training drives the most value across the operations. Significance shows how much impact that category has on the baseline metric. Schoox provides the reasoning why it helps the category. Now, another example of a category would be brand reputation and trust. We've got customer trust and brand reputation and net promoter score. So let's say, for example, if we take net promoter score, on the right-hand side, it gives us a metric. What this means is if the training has been completed and applied, the baseline metric, which is the net promoter score, will increase. Now, when we click on impact profile, LIS puts all of the information together and gives us a hypothetical scenario, such as the financial impact it can have on the business if you train the retail sales associates the right way. It also shows the potential impact of this role. This is directional, not a promise. This is why we have added a realism factor, simply for the reason that just because you push out training doesn't mean everyone will complete it or will they be able to apply it to their job. It helps leaders prioritize focus and investment. Another scenario, for example, here is we've seen 3 categories where the system is asking us to focus, which is customer loyalty and experience, brand reputation and trust, revenue and sales growth. Another scenario is if all retail sales associates complete their training, then each sales associate will have a potential gain of around $49,000. And this is why we add a realism factor, because as we mentioned earlier, just pushing out training doesn't mean that everyone will complete it or will they be able to apply it to their job. And here is another scenario, which is realistic gains by training scenario, which is if a balanced approach is taken, meaning 15 to 20 hours with the right content, there will be a gain of approximately $12,000. With a comprehensive plan, meaning a more aggressive training plan, which is about 35 to 40 hours with the right content, we will see a higher gain, in this case, approximately $22,700. So instead of asking, did training really work, we should discuss where should we invest next. This level of clarity can change how leadership allocates training dollars. All right, next to impact learning plans. This is the second part. Only now do we talk about training. LIS can help create tailored training plans to help you achieve what you want from a business perspective. It can be for all sales associates or specific ones. So let's go ahead and create one. If I click on create here, the job that I'll select for this demo, as I mentioned, is retail sales associate. It could be for everybody within the organization or specific learners. You can specify the number of courses. So let's say if we choose 20. Now you've got 2 options, create courses using AI, and the output of this would be microcards. Whereas the optimizer, the second option, will choose your courses from the library, which you could purchase, create internally. So it looks at your course title, description, tags, and then it comes up with a plan. And then the next one is to choose a training focus, such as, are we trying to increase or uplift the proficiency, or are we looking at business impact significance, or are we focusing on a specific category? So I selected business impact significance because we had looked at 3 different focus areas that the system suggested, and it created a plan. We will look at the AI generated one first. And here it pulls up those skills groupings again, and this time it will show you how many courses were generated and connected to that. The next tab is where you can get to see the course blueprint known as syllabus. Some people call this gold. Our CEO calls this the dream plan. So it basically gives you the entire syllabus with course names, descriptions, reasoning, and the skills attached to that. Now let's go ahead and click on the first one, for example. When I click on view course, it gives me the title, the description, why it helps, and the areas that it is going to have an impact on. Now the beauty about this is you can click on create and have the system generate a course immediately. Not to roll out all of this in one go, and you want to roll this out in phases, this is where all of that information is available to you on screen with reasoning and guidance. So in this case, our phase one, which is foundational customer engagement, gives the reasoning, and you can basically click on each and every course here. So if I click on course number 1, I've already created that. When I click on view, this is an example of what that course looks like. Now, we're also working on other formats such as full-length courses, videos, podcasts. I just wanted to show you an example of what the end user would see for this one. Now, if I go back to my training plan, and this time click on AI Optimized one, which is where I had mentioned the system will take into consideration all of your courses within the internal library and create a plan based out of that. So let's go ahead and click on that. It's very similar to the other example. It will show you all the skills groupings, the courses connected to that. And this time, if I click on courses, it is going to show you how the courses that the system has picked up is relevant to that skill. So here the providers are Biz Library, Master TCN, HSI Training Academy, just to show you that it also reads all of those details from your course library and comes up with a syllabus for you. Similar to that too, you can go through phases if you don't want to roll all of that out in one go. And then the last part here is gap analysis. This is again to show you that if the system does not match any courses to those skills, what it can do is it can give you that information on screen, and then you can simply click on create AI course for this specific skill. In case when I do that, it is suggesting 3 courses. I can select all, select, and then create those. So it is very powerful in terms of giving you full analysis, also then connecting all of your skills to your training and preparing and creating a plan for you. Now, what you saw isn't an LMS feature. It's a new way to decide where to invest in people and then prove that it works. That was all I had to show for the demo today, and thank you so much.